Pixel 6 Pro has been a revelation of a phone, but it's not been smooth sailing. There are things it does pretty well, and there are areas I wish it would do better. And this is frustrating because this device is so close to being the perfect smartphone. This would be an in-depth review, so I suggest you get yourself some popcorn, a cup of tea or whatever you like, some fizzy drinks, and enjoy. The Pixel 6 Pro design is a breath of fresh air. It has a very distinct camera bar at the back and a measured two-tone color. If you notice here, there is a difference between this color and this color here. This is on the lighter side. This is Google's dual colors or two-tone colors. The camera bar at the back here has a functional design of housing the tray of cameras, but also preventing your phone from wobbling when using it on the table, which is one of the good designs of this distinctive camera bar. We have the mini SIM card tray on the left, the power button and volume buttons on the right, a microphone and a rubberized portion at the top to allow for 5G waves, and at the bottom you have the USB ports and the speakers. The front of the phone features a 6.7-inch curved edge display, a selfie camera, a fingerprint sensor, and a top-mounted speaker. I believe that as a form of brand recognition, most phone companies will be forced to differentiate their phones with a camera bump and arrangement of cameras, and some other companies do not. Pixel 6 Pro will be available in 3 colors: cloudy white, stormy black, and subtle sunny. I think they missed the trick there, to be fair. It is a bummer that Google only offers 256GB of storage in stormy black, and the other colors only get 128GB of storage, which is sad because I'm pretty sure most people would love to get 256GB of storage with a color like this. Android 12 is a revolutionary new material design that allows your phone to adapt to you by using algorithms to extract colors and apply custom tonal palettes using the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the light and dark variant across various aspects of your phone UI. Due to these astronomical changes in Android 12, and it not being ready but being rushed out with the Pixel 6 Pro, I encountered a few bugs that pulled down the pants of an almost perfect Android device. Aside from these bugs, which we'll be talking about later on in the video, the phone has been exciting to use with excellent haptic feedback, animations of charging your phones, unlocking your device, tapping to wake up your phone. These animations are subtle. You don't actually notice them unless you're looking for it, but this is what makes the user experience on the Pixel 6 Pro very, very good. Using the Pixel 6 Pro has changed my texting habit, and this is just within a few weeks of using this device. Now, if I want to send a text message, I take my phone, I jump into text, I click on the mic icon to say whatever I want to say, and click on send, or I can use the keyword send to send this text message. I'm able to do this because of Google's Tensor, which uses on-device AI to carry out dictation. This process has become so smooth and so fast and accurate that 95% of the time it gets what I'm saying correctly, and I'm able to send it first time without the need to do much more. If your job requires you to communicate with other people in different languages or different dialects, then the Pixel 6 Pro is the device for you, because you're able to download different languages to your device and use Google's Live Translate, meaning most of these would not require the use of internet. So if you travel to a different country and you did not have internet, it is possible, right? You're still able to communicate with people, with the caveat being you've downloaded that language. You can also set Live Translate to translate your text messages or WhatsApp messages. So if you were communicating with someone in a different language, when the message comes in, Live Translate then converts the message for you into English if that's your language of choice. But it could also do one further. You could then type your response in English, and as you're typing, it is converting it into that language, which you're then able to send to that person. So not only are you understanding what the person is saying to you, you're communicating back to the person, but it is being sent back in the language of that person's choice. It's pretty incredible. You need to try it. The Pixel 6 Pro also comes with a security dashboard. Mine is green, which means everything is fine. Sometimes it would show you yellow to tell you there are actions you need to carry out. It's got app security, find my device security updates, screen lock. These are things you would need to look into if you want to keep your device secure. So I commend Google on this because they've created a dashboard which makes it a lot easier. They've got all your security settings in one place, making it easier for you to jump on there and make some corrections if need be. You now get one hand mode, which should help with those smaller hands, as Google did not release a smaller device this year. I'm surprisingly able to use this phone with one hand through the great skill of shuffling. You do not want to shuffle this phone without a case, as it is so slippery. Keeping this phone on any device that's a little bit slanted or sloped will get this device crashing to the floor. For other neat features of Google Pixel 6 Pro and Android 12, I've got 2 videos dedicated to showing you what they can do, which I'll link in the description and right there. The Pixel 6 Pro has a massive 6.7-inch QHD curved 120Hz AMOLED display. It is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus. The curved edges make the screen bigger than it actually is, and the display is a beauty to behold, while eliminating color distortions which are usually caused by curved edges. I love the display when watching a movie. The colors are vibrant as it exhibits an impressive color range of superbly bright colors and well-detailed shadows as the blacks were not crushed. Talking about brightness, Google's phones have always fallen behind in brightness levels when compared to the competition, and this year it still falls behind at 800 nits compared to S21 Ultra, which is at about 1500 nits. But the Pixel 6 Pro is plenty bright for indoor use and outdoor use. The best way to use the Pixel 6 Pro would be to put it on adaptive brightness, as even though Google says the phone is at 800 nits, I think it actually goes further than that, because when you use it in direct sunlight, it cranks the brightness up and you're still able to use your device in direct sunlight, which if you're able to do that, then the phone is plenty bright. At the bottom of the display, you've got the fingerprint sensor. And Google really crapped the bed on this. The fingerprint sensor is so inconsistent that most people need to register their fingerprints 3 times, which I think is quite ridiculous. This has been one of the main issues of the Pixel 6 Pro. A little thing such as dirt on your finger can cause the fingerprint sensor to not be responsive. The good thing is Google released an update which we are hoping will make it function a little bit better. I would hope Google allows us to use the camera as face unlock just to make accessing the phone a little bit easier. When I talk about my experience of using the Google Pixel 6 Pro, one thing comes to mind, and that is doing the little things right. There are so many minute things it does so well that you would never notice it unless you actually dug deep for it. A good example of this would be you pulling down the notification panel. There's an ever so slightly vibration which lets you know that something is happening, so you don't actually need to look at it. I can tell it's happening. Like those little feedbacks and the haptics, the way the haptics was done, it is really good. These are the little things in Google devices you need to look out for. The little things that make your experience very, very enjoyable. This is what Google is all about. Google is all about you not using your phone more than it needs to be. Google is about taking a 4-step process and reducing it into 2 steps. This is why Google gave us the Tensor chip. The Pixel 6 has got good audio experience when making calls or consuming content. It has a set of stereo speakers that produces a very rich sound with a good mixture of bars, mids, and highs. The bottom right speaker handles more of the bars tones, and the front-facing speaker handles more of the other sounds. It doesn't get as loud as the S21 Ultra or as good as the iPhone 13, but it handles its own. So if I was to rate them, I would say in terms of volume on its own, I will give it to the S21 Ultra, and in terms of the richness of the sound coming out of the devices, I'll give it to the iPhone 13 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Remember when I said the Pixel 6 Pro was so close to being the perfect smartphone? Android 12 took this perfect smartphone and pulled its pants right down. I've had quite a few bugs on this device which definitely destroyed my smooth experience of the Pixel 6 Pro. I had the bug where WhatsApp would not restore my media backup on the Pixel 6 Pro. I had the bug where Google Assistant stopped working on the home screen, or even using the keywords did not activate Google Assistant. I had a bug that stopped me from closing apps when I swiped home. I had a bug with adaptive brightness where the adaptive brightness on the device kept switching due to AI trying to learn what my chosen brightness level would be at that point in time. And this was kind of an issue, and what they suggested was try to get your AI to learn your brightness usage by, when it starts doing that, by just adjusting it to your preferred brightness level, and after some point that's also stopped. I'm explaining all this to you not to tell you that the Pixel 6 Pro is bad, but to help you understand that the Pixel 6 Pro also comes with Android 12, and most of these bugs you're experiencing are bugs related to Android 12. A good example of this would be the iPhone 13 series. iPhone 13 on its own is a pretty good phone, it's a damn good phone, right? But the user experience on iPhone 13 for some people are pretty bad due to the inherent bugs with the iOS 15.1. All the highlighted bugs have stopped, and I now have an extremely enjoyable experience when using the Pixel 6 Pro. The animations are buttery smooth, and this is one of the few Android phones I've used without actually needing to go into the developer settings to change the animation scale to make things a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. While playing games, I'm able to push most games to its max, and the Pixel 6 Pro handles it well. From games like Call of Duty to Genshin Impact. The other thing you need to bear in mind is some of these games have not been optimized to utilize Android 12, and Genshin Impact is one of them. And when I use Genshin Impact, I get this clipping sound, which tends to occur, and sometimes a little bit of a jitter. Google gave us gaming dashboard which gives you a variety of options, but the most significant is the optimization options that allows you to set the phone mode automatically to performance mode, standard mode, and battery saver when you open the game. So when you tag an option to a game, it automatically opens that game with your chosen option. While on gaming, what you would need if you were to be playing a multiplayer game on your phone would be good speeds, and the Pixel 6 Pro does come equipped with 5G. Your level of 5G speed will also be affected by the phone. Does your phone have millimeter wave or sub-6, or does your phone have both, or either or? If you're based in Australia, US and Japan, you can get a Pixel 6 Pro in millimeter wave and sub-6, while countries like Canada, Denmark, France, Great Britain, Ireland and Taiwan will only get sub-6. This will affect your buying choices, as having sub-6 and millimeter wave will definitely affect the price. Let's talk about the 5000 mAh elephant in the room. The battery. I'm talking about the battery. Battery on the Pixel 6 Pro, yes. Now, I noticed a lot of comments about the battery being bad, and I thought to myself, am I getting something wrong? Am I biased? Or am I looking at the battery in a different light? So I decided to dig a little bit deep into the battery usage. In one instance, the phone was at 100% and went down to 5%. And this was during a period of 10 hours, 33 minutes. And my screen on time during that period was about 6 hours and 16 minutes. The next time I did it was from 94% to 4%. I used it for about 15 hours and 49 minutes. Right here you can see 99% to 10%. Screen on time was 5 hours 34 minutes, and I used it for a total of 7 hours. So depending on your usage, you might not get as many hours out of that. It might not be an all-day battery if you're going to be using it constantly, but if you're not a heavy user, then your phone will last you a lot more. And this is with the adaptive battery. Don't get me wrong, it could do with more optimization, and I'm hoping this to get better, because as Google is able to optimize Android 12 and as your phone is able to optimize its power settings to suit your needs, it should do better. Regarding charging speed, I don't think phone manufacturers should be allowed to advertise charging speed of it charges up to 60% in 30 minutes or something silly like that, because you do not get charger in box. I'm currently using some charger, maybe it's not a Pixel charger, and it charges my phone an hour 45 minutes to 2 hours. Not everyone has a Pixel charger, so if you're going to be advertising crazy charging speeds, then you should provide the charger. If not, keep it out of your adverts. The Pixel 6 Pro comes equipped with an 11.1 megapixel selfie camera and a 94-degree field of view, which records up to 4K 30 frames per second. On the rear, we have a 50 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, a 12.5 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 48 megapixel telephoto lens with optical image stabilization, a LiDAR sensor, and an LED flash. Google's cameras are all about details, which is why the processing sharpens a lot of its images and sometimes over-sharpens them in a bid to show more details. You get good dynamic range in your pictures while keeping the colors accurate. The shadows are not crushed but detailed and contrasted. Due to Google's picture capability being mostly software-based, the image preview tends to look different from the final images. For example, when taking a portrait mode picture, you have no idea how the image will look until Google's AI processes it. On the other hand, you could adjust the level of the blur after the fact. Google's night mode is still one of the best. It's able to make a diamond out of a turd. This is a picture without night sight, and this is what night sight is able to achieve. You will get a little bit more noise and grain in night sight shot, but the Pixel 6 Pro is able to capture low light pictures with accurate color representations. The Pixel 6 Pro records up to 4K 60 FPS and has 4 video stabilization modes. It has the standard for light movement, the locked which zooms in by 2x, active for heavy movement, and cinematic pan for smooth panning shots, which will be muted. It has been a smooth experience with the Pixel 6 Pro, barring the no expandable storage. I have Google One storage at 176GB, which backs up all my pictures and videos, and yet my Pixel 6 Pro apps have taken my storage level to 56 or 59%. If you plan on using this device for over 2 years and you have lots of apps, take lots of pictures and videos, then I would suggest you go for the 256GB of storage, which is $949 compared to the 128GB of storage, which is $849. The difference between the Pixel 6 Pro and the 6 would be the 120Hz, the curved screen, the telephoto lens, and battery. If none of these really interest you, then I would advise you to go for the Pixel 6 at 256GB of storage. However, if you're into 120Hz, the telephoto camera, the curved edge screen, the phone size, Google stock Android, Motorola U, and you love taking great photos, maybe not great videos, then the Pixel 6 would be a catch. There's also an issue of availability. Most of these devices are currently out of stock at 256GB of storage. So if you're looking for one at 256, I would say you need to go out and search for it or wait for the Pixel 6a. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the Pixel 6 Pro. Would you be getting one? If you're getting one, what storage options? Don't say 1 terabyte. Do remember to stay safe, and I will catch you in the next one.